Good evening and welcome to NTD News. I'm Stephania Cox. Here are today's top stories. The Biden administration and the European Union are banning travel from countries in southern Africa. Scientists are warning about a new variant of the CCP virus found in the region. What makes this new variant different from the others? Officials most familiar with Omicron tell us what they know. But shoppers weren't deterred. Back on the hunt for Black Friday deals today. We hear what they had to say. Some unlucky shoppers may experience a delay in receiving their packages. Authorities have found over 300 Fedex packages in the woods in Alabama. They're in the process of being recovered. A security guard working with a local news crew was shot during an attempted armed robbery in Oakland, California. Police are still looking for the culprit. Concerns are mounting over rising virus cases and the new variant, but experts are pointing to another ongoing crisis that they say we should not neglect. We take a look at how the opioid epidemic relates to the spread of COVID-19. The Biden administration is banning travel from 8 African countries. That's over fear of a new variant of the CCP virus discovered in South Africa on Wednesday. Experts are still trying to find out more about the situation. NTD's Allison Lee has more.
The 8 countries on the travel ban are South Africa, Botswana, Zimbabwe, Namibia, Lesotho, Eswatini, Mozambique, and Malawi. Starting Monday, most non-U.S. citizens who have been in those countries within the past 14 days will not be allowed to enter the U.S. The restrictions do not ban flights or apply to American citizens and permanent residents. President Biden acted on recommendations from Dr. Anthony Fauci and the CDC.
I've decided that we're going to be cautious, make sure there's no travel to and from South Africa and 6 other countries in that region. And except for American citizens who are able to come back. But we don't know a lot about the variant except that it is a great concern. It seems to spread rapidly.
The White House said in a statement, President Biden has promised to take every measure necessary to keep Americans safe and defeat the pandemic. Biden also said the news about this new variant should make clearer than ever why this pandemic will not end until we have global vaccinations. Earlier on Friday, Fauci was asked on CNN if it's possible the new variant is already in the U.S. Here's what he said.
You know, of course, anything is possible. We don't know that. There's no indication that it is right now. It seemed to have been restricted. There were some cases that originated in South Africa and that went to Botswana, and people who traveled.
Just before Biden announced the ban, South Africa had criticized such travel restrictions, calling them unjustified.
The reaction of some of countries in terms of imposing travel bans and such measures are completely against the norms and standards as guided by the World Health Organization.
The World Health Organization named the new variant Omicron, a letter in the Greek alphabet. Allison Lee, NTD News.
And the European Union is also imposing travel bans over the new Omicron variant of the CCP virus. They are banning travel from 7 countries in the southern African region, the same as the ones on the U.S. travel ban, except for Malawi. Germany is also mobilizing their air force to transport CCP virus patients. We have more on how countries are reacting.
Our view is very clear. We need to act very fast. We need to be vigilant, and we need to take all measures that are appropriate at this stage to prevent this virus from entering in Europe.
The president of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, says air travel will be suspended to the affected countries until they have a clear understanding about the danger of this new variant. The EU is also asking its 27 member states to test and quarantine all returning passengers.
We're taking the news about the new highly mutated COVID-19 variant very seriously. We do know that mutations could lead to the emergence and spread of even more concerning variants of the virus that could spread worldwide within a few months.
Germany is already dealing with a new surge of CCP virus cases domestically. On Friday, the country's Air Force is starting to transport seriously ill virus patients using military planes in regions where hospital ICUs are becoming overwhelmed.
We will have to, for the first time in this pandemic, move, with the help of the Air Force, ICU patients within Germany. The situation is dramatic, more dramatic than in any other time during this pandemic.
Other countries are also putting more travel restrictions in place. But the World Health Organization is warning against hasty travel bans.
So at this point, again, implementing travel measures is being cautioned against and taking a risk-based and a scientific approach.
Japan is requiring its citizens returning from South African countries to quarantine at government facilities. And Israel on Friday banned travel from most African countries. The country has already detected the first case of this new variant.
South Africa says it's investigating that new variant. But what makes this variant different from others? And does it lower the effectiveness of vaccines? NTD's Miguel Moreno has more on what we know.
South Africa reported the new variant to the WHO. The head of the country's health department says they're investigating Omicron.
As of yesterday, what the scientists who were reporting were indicating that it looks like it may be more transmissible.
South African officials say scientists have found nothing that indicates that this variant causes a higher degree of illness, and nothing to indicate that it weakens the effectiveness of vaccines. Officials say they believe Omicron has already spread across the country. The WHO labeled the variant a variant of concern because of its concerning mutations.
Right now, there are many studies that are underway. There's a lot of work that is ongoing in South Africa and in other countries to better characterize the variant itself in terms of transmissibility, in terms of severity, and any impact on our countermeasures like the use of diagnostics, therapeutics, or vaccines.
Travelers in Hong Kong, Israel, and other countries have tested positive for the variant. The first Omicron sample was collected about 2 weeks ago. Miguel Moreno, NTD News.
And flights have been temporarily banned from 6 African countries as they're added to the UK's red list. From 4 a.m. on Sunday, people traveling to the UK from South Africa will need to quarantine in a hotel for 10 days at a cost of more than $2,000. It comes amid concerns over what that new variant is doing. The UK's health secretary says not much is yet known about it, but emphasized the importance of moving quickly. NTD's Jane Werrell has more for us.
We are concerned that this new variant may...
There's a lot of uncertainty over the new variant detected in South Africa. Earlier in the Commons, the health secretary listing the unknowns about it.
Early indications show this variant may be more transmissible than the Delta variant, and current vaccines may be less effective against it. It may also impact the effectiveness of one of our major treatments, Ronapreve.
The Shadow Health Secretary absent as he recovers from COVID-19. The new variant was found in Botswana and in Hong Kong in travellers from South Africa. Ministers and Parliament moving quickly and deciding to close borders. It's not known how serious this new variant is. In the Commons, an MP asking about the possibility of nasal vaccines. And this MP wanting to know more about medical trials for ivermectin as a treatment for the disease.
Over 5 months ago, ivermectin was added to the Oxford University trial called Principle. When will the results from that trial be available, and what is the government doing to expedite the process? Because ivermectin may not be a magic bullet, but it may be.
Secretary of State.
Friend makes a very important point there. The one thing that is different about dealing with this pandemic today than even a year ago is that we already do have more treatments. And my honourable friend mentions another potential new treatment. I'm afraid there's no exact date that I can share with him about when we think the trials will be over. But I'm pleased that these trials are taking place. He's right to point out the potential of this treatment. But I can reassure him that whether it's with ivermectin or other potential new treatments, the UK could not be more engaged.
For those booking their flights back to the UK last night, disappointment and frustration.
Very emotional. I was happy to see my family, but I want to get home to my husband and my kids now. Yeah. So I hope I can make this flight with the tests and everything.
It's a big inconvenience. We had our flights booked for a week's time, but we got the news from our daughter in the UK about 12:30, 1 o'clock last night.
Ever since these regulations were passed last night, people are frantically trying to get back into the UK. The implications for tourism for South Africa are dire.
The Health Secretary says plans remain in place to deal with COVID-19 with vaccinations, but uncertainties do remain, and the government, of course, hasn't ruled out further restrictions. Jane Worrell, NTD News, London.
And for Black Friday, we wanted to see how things are shaping up for retailers, especially on news of the new variant. So NTD's Phil Zoe visited downtown New York.
It's Black Friday. NTD News went to top shopping destination, Soho in New York City.
I don't normally go Black Friday shopping, so...
No, this is just a spur-of-the-moment thing we did. I'm not sure what I'm going to actually buy today, but I'm still thinking about it.
It just happens to be Black Friday. It's not why I'm shopping, but and I live here, just so you know.
Shops were packed with local New Yorkers and visitors from afar. We caught up with prominent trial lawyer Tony Busby from Texas. He's glad to be shopping in stores again.
I think there's a lot more excitement in the atmosphere, and I think people are happy to be going back to stores instead of doing everything online. So it's nice to be outside. It's nice to be in the stores. You know, people are taking precaution.
Many stores open early in the morning, but one toy shop in New York is opening later in the day, offering toys and prices that shoppers can't resist.
Happy Black Friday! I'm here with my friend Pen at the Minnesota gift shop in Soho. It's their grand opening tomorrow, but NTD News got a sneak peek for what they have to offer. Almost everything in the store is under $10.
From stuffed animals to accessories to all kinds of gifts. The most expensive item here, under $20. It comes as South Africa just reported a new virus variant to the WHO, now called the Omicron variant. How is that going to impact people's daily lives?
I feel like people are kind of getting over COVID and getting frustrated by it, so I don't know if people will follow requirements as much.
It's going to be another virus that we have to deal with, but I think we're kind of used to it now. I'm not going to hopefully let it affect me too much and let it affect my family.
You know, it's tough, but at the same time, we all have to help each other just push through this.
Back at the toy store.
Love this if you love food. Of course.
They're offering a raffle for every $15 purchase. You can win a shopping spree, or the top prize, a giant Spider-Man.
Guys, I'm not waiting for no raffle. I'm taking Spider-Man home today. Good luck at the drawing.
Phil Zoe, NTD News, New York.
And you can find Black Friday deals at physical stores and online. But where are most people hunting for deals this year? And have shopping habits changed at all? NTD's Arian Pazdar has that story.
It's 2021, so do people still like to go to the store, or do they prefer to just stay at home and shop from there? I took to the streets of Manhattan to find out. Are you shopping in the store or online?
Store. Looking for them online if something makes sense.
Online or in person?
In person.
Why in person? Do you just prefer that? Do you think it's better?
You could just try on the material before you buy it.
New Yorkers I spoke with seem to have different opinions, but there might still be an overall trend this year.
At least the preliminary surveys indicate that a lot of people do intend to actually hit the stores on Black Friday.
Michael Solomon is a marketing advisor for a number of well-known companies. He says both online and in-person shopping might increase this year. Increase in shopping in general, why is that? Why are people shopping more? I would assume that people are shopping less with the inflation and all that.
Well, I'm not sure that inflation has become a huge concern for many people. It's definitely getting on their radar screens, but they're at this point more concerned about everything they're hearing about supply chain delays. They seem to be hearing quite a bit about the need to get out early and get what you need for your loved ones before you can't find it anymore. I'm not sure how accurate that is, but people seem to be getting that message.
He added that no one wants to end up empty-handed on Christmas, so people are making sure to get what they need early. Arian Pastar, NTD News, New York.
But watch out if you're waiting for a package from Fedex. Authorities have just found hundreds of Fedex packages in the woods in Alabama. It's unclear how they ended up there. The Blount County Sheriff's Office in Alabama is investigating how 300 to 400 Fedex packages ended up in a ravine on Wednesday. Locals found the packages near the small town of Hayden, about 30 miles north of Birmingham. The packages were strewn about the forest and piled at the bottom of a wooded hillside. FedEx later sent workers and trucks to pick up the packages. The company says it's taking steps to recover and transport the affected packages as quickly as possible. It also says it's cooperating with law enforcement and will take appropriate action after reviewing the situation. And while concerns are rising about the pandemic, some experts are pointing to another crisis that might get worse during this stressful time. NTD's Iris Tao reports.
It can be stressful as one sees no end to the current pandemic. On top of rising cases and a new variant, experts are calling attention to another crisis that comes along with the difficult situation.
I think we had huge forces that led to a lack of coping skills and an incredible amount of stress. What's the result of that? Unfortunately, the use of these mind and mood-altering substances, specifically synthetic fentanyl.
America's drug epidemic is the deadliest it has ever been. New CDC data shows that drug overdose deaths topped 100,000 in a single year for the first time. Dr. Paul Christo, an associate professor at the Johns Hopkins University School of Medicine, says part of that is because Americans are facing one of the most vulnerable periods in history.
Addiction occurs when you take a drug with rewarding properties, like fentanyl, like alcohol, for example, methamphetamine, and you introduce it to a vulnerable person at a vulnerable time in life.
This as major U.S. pharmacies are in hot water. A federal jury this week found CVS, Walgreens, and Walmart liable for worsening the opioid crisis by dispensing millions of painkillers in 2 Ohio counties.
This is a landmark decision because it's the first time that the issues of opioid epidemic have been tried against these national chain pharmacies.
The drug epidemic has killed 500,000 Americans over the past 2 decades. But Dr. Crystal says he thinks pharmacies are not the ones to blame, as they're only carrying out prescriptions off the doctors.
I do feel like it is extreme. I feel like it's extreme here in terms of holding another group responsible for the opioid crisis.
What's more, studies have shown that there's been an almost 40% decrease in prescription opioids in the last 5 years.
We're seeing is basically overdoses related to the recreational use of opioids, not prescription opioids. It's the recreational use of opioids that people are buying on the street and unfortunately dying.
And although the virus pandemic might be causing more people to resort to substance abuse, it can also bring about positive changes.
We're able to link patients to mental health professionals, psychiatrists, psychologists, therapists, counselors that we couldn't do before. So that's very positive.
But the doctor says it remains urgent to counter the troubling trend. He says authorities should further crack down on illegal drug dealers and expand drug treatment services across the country. Iris Tao, NTD News.
Coming up, a local San Francisco news station recently became the target of an attempted robbery. A security guard was shot while protecting the news crew. And in light of the recent retail crime sprees, California's police are teaming up to combat smash and grab robberies. Find out more in just a moment here on NTD News. A news station covering a California smash and grab theft became the target of an attempted robbery. Their security guard was shot while protecting the news crew. NTD's Cynthia Kai with the details.
A security guard was shot on November 24th while accompanying a news crew from San Francisco's Cron 4. The crew was covering a recent smash-and-grab robbery story in Oakland, California, when the guard was shot in the lower abdomen. The guard was taken to Highland Hospital for surgery, according to police. Oakland police say the incident was an attempt to steal camera equipment and are investigating the incident.
The Oakland Police Department is investigating an attempted armed robbery involving a local media news crew that occurred today at 12:19 p.m. in the 300 block of 14th Street. During the attempted robbery, the assigned guard was struck by gunfire. Currently, the guard is at a local hospital and listed in stable condition. No other injuries have been reported.
Many local television stations, including Krong 4, regularly assign security guards to accompany news crews when covering certain stories. In recent months, a number of Bay Area news stations have been targeted for their camera equipment by thieves. Officers later found an additional victim involved in the incident. A nearby man was hit by shrapnel from a bullet and also transported to Highland Hospital for treatment. Krong 4's Vice President Jim Rose said that the safety of their personnel is a top priority and wishes the security guard a complete recovery. Cynthia Kai, NTD News, California.
California's law enforcement has partnered up to tackle organized retail crime. Creation of the new task force comes after last weekend's robbery rampage. Here's NTD's Eileen Ang with more.
Amid a string of smash-and-grab robberies, the California Highway Patrol is working with local law enforcement agencies to investigate organized retail crimes, make arrests, and recover stolen merchandise from brick-and-mortar and online retail stores throughout the state. The CHP's Organized Retail Crime Task Force will be pursuing leads, identifying suspects, and supporting criminal investigations during this holiday shopping season. In a statement, CHP Commissioner Amanda Ray said they are collaborating with local law enforcement and district attorneys to apprehend and prosecute the criminals involved in this nefarious activity. There will be more patrols on the freeway corridors near major shopping centers. They remind shoppers who are witnessing an organized theft to not intervene, take notes on what the suspect and vehicle looked like. If possible and safe to do so, get the license plate and report the findings to the store manager or police. 7 Bay Area district attorneys are working together to combat organized retail crime. Shoppers have mixed feelings about shopping in person.
You kind of don't want to be in a situation where something like that's going to happen, especially if you have your family with you, you know. You don't want to be involved or have any kind of harm come around you when people are kind of smashing and grabbing and running and stuff like that. So, it's unfortunate that's happening at all. So, we still got to get out there and do our shopping and do our, family gathering and stuff like that. So I just think it makes you more aware.
I like to go into the city just because I love the buzz. I'm a little concerned about the shoplifting, but yeah. I don't really buy. I'm not a big. I'm sort of at the point in my life where everybody I know has everything they want. So it's sort of like if you find something perfect, great.
According to the National Retail Federation, about 2 million more people are expected to shop between Thanksgiving Day and Cyber Monday compared to last year. Eileen Ang, NTD News, California.
And in San Francisco, the police department released body cam and surveillance footage of a deadly incident that happened at a hotel involving a man with a knife. NTD's Jason Blair reports.
The San Francisco Police Department released videos and updated information from a deadly confrontation last week in which a knife-wielding man was shot by the police. On November 19th, the police responded to a 911 call about a man wielding a knife in a residential hotel.
We will be releasing facts known to us at this time about this incident in a manner that is informative and impartial.
The man with the knife was identified as Ajmal Amani, a former interpreter for the U.S. Special Forces. In the videos, officers can be seen trying to talk with Amani as he hid around a corner. About a minute later, the man ran out and charged down the hallway at the officers.
As Mr. Amani closed the distance, Officer 1 and Officer 2 fired their respective weapons, striking Mr. Amani.
Amani was later taken to the hospital where he died of his injuries. Jason Blair, NTD News, San Francisco.
And while Black Friday is not like it used to be, many people still hit the malls bright and early to get their shopping done. Some say crowds are down from previous years. NTD's David Lamb speaks to shoppers in Silicon Valley to hear their experience this year.
It's the day after Thanksgiving, and shoppers have already flocked to Westfield Valley Fair in Northern California. Some shoppers arrive early in the morning and stay for a few hours to do their winter shopping.
How was your Black Friday shopping experience today?
I'd say it was pretty good. We came out here pretty early. I know that we came here like 7:30 in the morning. I didn't see a lot of people, and so I thought no one was going to come shopping today, but I see that everyone came in a little later today. But we got a lot of good stuff.
It's good. There's discount on like everything, like almost everything is cheaper today compared to other days.
Several shoppers said they felt crowds are smaller this year.
Yes, there was a lot of people, but compared to last year, I don't think, like last year there were more people compared to this year, yeah.
Yeah, there's not a lot of people compared to other Black Friday years, but there's also not a lot of sales, like good sales, compared to other years.
A spokesperson told NTD that a survey found that 84% of Westfield's shoppers plan to buy gifts in store.
I do want to do online shopping. The only thing with online shopping is I like to come, especially with clothes and I guess shoes, is that personally I like to come in and actually try them on and feel what I'm trying to buy.
Oh man, it's crazy season on Christmas and holidays, man. I'm hand delivering this pallet across the mall. This traffic, I gotta go outside and do this. I can't go through the mall.
While their stores don't typically have doorbuster deals, they anticipate a healthy crowd of guests to return and sustained foot traffic throughout Thanksgiving weekend. David Lamb, NTD News, California.
And in New York City, department stores are unveiling their famous Christmas window displays. NTD's Chenny Wu gives us a look.
The holiday window displays are a must-see for anyone who comes to New York City during the Christmas season. Department stores like Bloomingdale's, Macy's, and Saks Fifth Avenue are lighting up the streets with their festive showcases. According to Macy's, who started the trend, the tradition dates back to 1874. And since then, the holiday season has brought an annual transformation of Manhattan's shopping district. Visitors shared with us what they thought of the holiday windows.
I think the window displays are for the children of our world. And the children is everyone in this world, even the adults. Because when adults look at this, it brings back good memories.
Oh my God, they're so wonderful and beautiful. It reminds me of our home in like Chicago, but I love them. Like, so nice. Look at that strawberry, you know what I mean? That's so wonderful.
I really think it's exciting. It's a great way to bring in the new season.
As the holiday season approaches, more Christmas decorations are getting set up around the city. Chenny Wu, NTD News, New York.
And coming up, a great amount of shares of the debt-trapped Evergrande are sold. The company's chairman sells his shares to save the company, and another important shareholder is distancing himself from the company. And China's most popular social media platform is under clampdown. Authorities ordered state-run companies to limit their use of the app. Find out more in just a moment here on NTD News.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell. Cancel culture has not only affected myself and MyPillow, but millions of you out there. Before all this started, I had already written in my memoir, I dedicate this book to anyone that's looking for hope. Well, right now, we're all looking for hope. I believe that my story is going to bring inspiration and hope to everyone. By the time you're done reading my book, you will believe that with God, all things are possible. To thank you all for your support, I'm offering some of my best prices ever on MyPillow products, including this exclusive bundle. You get my book and these 5 MyPillows. They all have beautiful scenes and verses from the Bible, such as Isaiah 41:10. Do not fear, for I am with you. This 6-pack bundle is regularly $219. Now it's just $99.98 and free shipping with your promo code. Go to mypillow.com and use the promo code on your screen or call the 1-800 number below. Thank you and God bless.
Last Friday, this guy stole a package right off my porch. Or at least that's what would have happened if I didn't have my Vivint Smart Security System. Instead, this is what really happened. System detects package. Thief walks up. System scares thief. Thief runs away. If your doorbell can't do this, you need a Vivint Smart Security System. Call 844-544-0866 today.
90% of news outlets in the United States are controlled by 6 corporations. They're not out to tell you the truth of what's happening. They're out to tell you the picture of the world that they represent. The mission of the Epoch Times is to chase the truth, to ground all statements in facts, and prevent people from being misled. This is a battle between truth and deceit. Subscribe today and join the Americans who are seeking truth and tradition. We'd love to have you on board.
Back in the spotlight, China's debt-trapped real estate company Evergrande is making moves. Its chairman sold off his stock shares to save the company, while another shareholder sold shares to save himself. Here's more.
Good and bad news for debt-trapped real estate company Evergrande. Two big shareholders are selling their shares. One is aiming to save the company, and the other is trying to keep a distance from it. On Thursday, founder and chairman of Evergrande, Hua Kai-yen, sold a large amount of his shares, raising over $300 million for his company. The share sale reduced Hua's stake in Evergrande by about 10%, but he is still the biggest shareholder. Evergrande reported over $300 billion in liabilities, and it has been selling assets to make payments. And Chinese authorities told Hui to help pay bondholders with his personal assets. The company's shares have fallen over 83% from last year. A real estate company in Hong Kong, Chinese Estates Holdings Limited, announced Wednesday that it would sell all of its Evergrande shares. That's over 700 million shares. It's estimated to be worth less than $300 million. As Evergrande shares already fell by more than 80%, the Hong Kong company will suffer a loss of about $1.3 billion. Chinese authorities are also trying to reduce the crisis. A government body took over an Evergrande soccer stadium under construction. It would be the world's largest soccer venue if it were to be completed by the end of 2022 as originally planned. Now we look to Beijing's hostage diplomacy. A Seattle resident finally returned home after being held hostage in China for 4 years. The man's name is Daniel Xu. He says he found out he could leave China 4 days before Biden's meeting with Chinese leader Xi Jinping. While Beijing allowed Xu to come back to America, the U.S. also released 7 prisoners back to China. These prisoners include a former Chinese bank executive who's on Beijing's wanted list, and 2 women who were arrested after they entered Trump's mansion in Mar-a-Lago in 2019. Another 2 prisoners were convicted of taking photos of a naval air station in Florida, and another 2 committed financial crimes in Utah. As for the Seattle man, Daniel Xu, he didn't commit any crime. Beijing held him hostage because it wants his father to return to China. Chinese authorities say his father embezzled over $60,000. Xu's father denies the charge.
And Beijing's clampdown on the technology sector now has a new target, WeChat. This messaging app is the most popular social media platform in China, with more than 1 billion active monthly users worldwide. It's called the Facebook of China.
The clampdown on WeChat takes a different form than it's taken for other Chinese technology giants. This time, the Chinese Communist Party ordered at least 9 state-run companies to restrict their employees' use of the app. And the reason? They were citing security concerns about data. Most state-run companies in China are large-scale. These 9 companies include some of the biggest. Among them, China National Petroleum had more than 1 million employees. China Mobile has 447,000. And China Construction Bank about 350,000. Employees at these companies were told to close or delete work-related chat groups due to sensitive information they may contain. The Journal also reported that Chinese app stores got a notice from the country's Ministry of Industry and Information Technology. The Wednesday notice says WeChat parent company Tencent could only update its apps or launch new apps with government approval. This is not the first time Tencent has been caught in Beijing's clampdown. As an online video gaming giant, Tencent was hit hard by the new strict restrictions on online gaming time. And in summer, Chinese regulators blocked Tencent's effort to merge 2 major game streaming sites. Since last year, the impact of internet giants on society is triggering increasingly more alarm from Beijing. WeChat users can not only chat with each other on the platform, as with Facebook, but also do many other things, such as paying bills and hailing taxis. The authorities also use its popularity to carry out certain services, like contact tracing. This is part of their so-called health code system. In this app installed on citizens' mobile phones, The same is true for citizens' vaccination records. Companies such as Tencent now have hold of an unimaginably large amount of data, and they are in the way of the communist regime, seeking to solely control such information.
Coming up, are boys losing positive role models? One member of parliament in the United Kingdom thinks so, and he's sounding the alarm. And authorities say a new vent has developed on the La Palma Island volcano. Thousands have evacuated their homes since the eruptions first began over 2 months ago. Find out more in just a moment here on NTD News. An unidentified gunman opened fire on a bus carrying 8 teenagers in western Kosovo today. 3 people were killed and another injured. That's according to local police and media reports. Authorities said the bus came under attack by a masked gunman in a village at 55 miles west of the capital, Pristina. The driver died immediately, and 3 teenagers were taken to a hospital where 2 of them died. The third is reportedly in stable condition. Police said the masked gunman fired an automatic rifle at the bus. They did not provide a motive for the attack, saying it was too early in the investigation. They added there's no reason to believe it was a terrorist attack. And Ukraine has uncovered a plot for an attempted coup due to take place next week. This was announced by the president at a press conference, where he also spoke of a threat of military escalation from Russia.
We received information that a coup d'etat will take place in our country on the 1st. Interesting, isn't it? I think it's important information. On December the 1st or 2nd.
Zelensky did not give details of the coup attempt or accuse the Russian state of involvement. Russia has been building up forces near its border with Ukraine. Kiev has been holding military drills of its own in response. Ukraine, the US and NATO have voiced concerns about a possible Russian attack, a suggestion the Kremlin has dismissed as false and alarmist. Moscow and Kiev have traded blame for rising tensions in recent weeks, raising fears that the long-running conflict could erupt into renewed open warfare.
A British lawmaker says many male characters, like in Doctor Who, Ghostbusters and others, have all been replaced by women. That means many boys are increasingly left with only gangsters as role models. His comments came during a debate for International Men's Day as he highlighted the difficulties faced by boys and men. This report comes from NTD's Joanne Robson.
Nick Fletcher to move the motion.
Tory MP Nick Fletcher says boys need more positive male role models. During a debate on Thursday, he said young men are left with characters that glamorise crime, as Doctor Who, Ghostbusters and other positive male screen roles have been replaced by women.
In recent years, we have seen Doctor Who, Ghostbusters, Luke Skywalker, The Equalizer, all replaced by women, and men are left with the Craze and Tommy Shelby. Is there any wonder we are seeing so many young men committing crime? These programmes make crime look cool.
Jodie Whittaker is the first female Doctor Who, while an all-female lineup starred in the 2016 remake of Ghostbusters. Tommy Shelby is a gangster from the TV series Peaky Blinders.
Everywhere, not at least within the cultural sphere, there seems to be a call from a tiny yet very vocal minority that every male character or good role model must have a female replacement. One only needs to look at the discussion surrounding who will play the next James Bond.
The MP for Don Valley highlighted the difficulties faced by young boys, with many lagging behind at school. He stressed the need for boys to have positive male role models and pressed the government to help efforts to encourage more men to become teachers.
Yet I would also like to reiterate something that seems to be very topical at the moment, although much more for women than men. And that is the need for men to have their own identity and for masculinity to be something that can be celebrated at times rather than continually vilified.
Fletcher's comment caused some controversy. He later published a statement saying his nuanced point about increasingly fewer male role models for young boys had been misconstrued. He said, "My point was, in fact, a straightforward one and in no way linked Doctor Who, being a female, to crime being committed by men. He went on to write that the only characters many boys with no good male role models in their lives see on television are increasingly criminal. Fletcher's comments came as he led the International Men's Day debate in Westminster Hall. International Men's Day is on November the 19th worldwide. The purpose is to celebrate the positive value men bring to the world, their families and communities. Joanne Robson, NTD News.
And Italy has given safe haven to an Afghan woman whose iconic photograph featured on the front cover of National Geographic magazine in 1985. The image shows a green-eyed Afghan girl that captured the world's attention as a symbol of her country's wars.
Shabat Gula, shown here in photographs from 2016, asked Italy for help to leave Afghanistan following the Taliban's takeover of the country. Gula was photographed aged 12 years old, living in a refugee camp on the Pakistan-Afghan border. Her identity was only discovered in 2002 when the original photographer Steve McCurry returned to the region and tracked her down. Prime Minister Mario Draghi's office says her arrival in Italy is part of a broader program to evacuate and integrate Afghan citizens.
And the volcano on Spain's La Palma island, which first erupted over 2 months ago, is still active. Today, it ejected powerful jets of lava and sent a red-hot stream gushing down its slope. This eruption is now the longest seen on the island in 375 years. Authorities reported yesterday another vent had emerged. Volcanic activity has showed no sign of abating since the volcano first erupted on September 19th. La Palma Airport closed last weekend due to the accumulation of ash and will remain closed. The regional government also warned residents that rain on Friday could cause mudslides. Until Wednesday, the lava stream had engulfed over 2,600 acres of land. That's according to the EU satellite monitoring system, Copernicus. The eruption has damaged or destroyed nearly 2,700 buildings, forcing the evacuation of thousands from their homes. And coming up, who's the best chess player in the world? We'll soon find out as the 2021 World Chess Championship began today in Dubai. And a 3,000-year-old promenade in Egypt gets renovated. The famed route is lined with ancient statues of sphinxes and rams. Egypt hopes the restoration project will highlight the archaeological treasures. Find out more in just a moment.
You worked hard for your money. You invest in stability for your retirement and your family's future, to build and leave them with something greater. The next unprecedented financial crisis, political misstep, or unstable government can depreciate it all away. It was called the gold standard for a reason, the financial preservation of tomorrow. Diversify your assets against inflation, market volatility, and the unknown with real money. Hedge your wealth with the purest form of money, physical gold and silver. Because any currency printed on paper can be manipulated. What's backing up your IRA? Do what you need to do right now to be prepared with the Reagan Gold Group. Visit now, rggusakit.com, or call us at 866-912-1384. Receive up to $2,500 in free silver coins and a free safe with your new precious metals IRA. Call now.
The 2021 World Chess Championship began today at the Dubai Exhibition Center. The challenger faced off against four-time defending champion Magnus Carlsen from Norway. NTD's Jason Perry has the story.
Magnus Carlsen from Norway has been the chess world champion since 2013, and he's looking to win his fifth title. His challenger, Jan Nepomniachtchi from Russia, recently won the 2020-2021 Candidates Tournament, which gave him the chance to play against Carlsen at the World Chess Championship in Dubai.
And it is time to introduce the champion from Norway, Magnus Carlsen.
The two are competing against each other in a best-of-14 match. Their first game was Friday, and challenger Nepomniachtchi started with the white chess pieces, with the International Chess Federation president making the first ceremonial move. After a few hours and 45 moves each, the first game ended as a draw, following a threefold repetition of moves by the two competitors. Both are now at half a game each. Whoever is first to win 7.5 games will claim a prize of about $1.4 million, while the loser will get about $900,000. Their next two games are scheduled for Saturday and Sunday. Jason Perry, NTD News.
It's one of the top tourist destinations in Egypt. The Avenue of the Sphinxes is over 3,000 years old and connects two ancient Egyptian temple complexes. The country has just finished renovating the ancient promenade. Let's take a look.
Egyptian authorities unveiled the renovated Avenue of the Sphinxes in a lavish ceremony Thursday. The ancient walkway connects the famous Karnak and Luxor temples in what was once the city of Thebes, Egypt's capital in antiquity.
Luxor deserves more than that, truly. It is the most important tourist and antiquity city in the world. It is the tourist Qibla for the whole world.
The ceremony included a reenactment of the ancient Opet festival. During the New Kingdom era in ancient Egypt, statues of Theban deities were paraded through the city during the annual festival, celebrating fertility and the flooding of the Nile. As for the recent version, Egypt's president marched in the ceremony, while pharaonic chariots and more than 400 young performers dressed in costumes also paraded down the famed avenue. The road is believed to have been the route pilgrims trod to visit the temples and pay tribute to their deities. It's several miles long and was discovered in 1949. It had been under excavation for more than 50 years, while its latest renovation was a government project aimed at highlighting the country's archaeological treasures. Tourism is an important industry for Egypt, but it has taken a hit in recent years. The country's tourism revenues plunged from around $13 billion in 2019 to about $4 billion in 2020.
It's the day after Thanksgiving, which means Christmas season is officially here. With it comes decoration, and some people are way ahead of the game. This homeowner in central Germany is bringing in the holiday spirit with more than 70,000 lights. The owners say it all started years ago with a single string of lights in the front garden. Now the display has grown into an attraction that draws people from all over the region. And for many, the day after Thanksgiving marks the beginning of Christmas music season. Let's tune in to some of the season's latest sounds ahead of the holidays.
One of the biggest new Christmas songs this season is Mariah Carey's Fall in Love at Christmas, featuring Khalid and Kirk Franklin. The trio will perform it on Carey's upcoming Apple TV Plus holiday special, December 3rd. Debbie Gibson's original ode to the holidays is Christmas Star. It's been a busy year for Gibson, who in August dropped her first new album of original music in 20 years.
Many times, many ways, Merry Christmas to you.
That's Steve Perry singing the classic The Christmas Song. The performance comes from the former Journey singer's first set of holiday music, The Season. Folk rock group Blackmore's Night have released a remastered and expanded edition of their Winter Carols album this season. The 27-song double album features Christmas classics, originals, and live performances.
And that's all for today's news. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Stephanie Cox.
Thanks for watching us on YouTube. Did you know YouTube only keeps selective videos on its platform? So if you want to make sure you get the full picture, just subscribe to our newsletter. Go to newsletter.ntd.com and sign up. It's free.